Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. What a dream it is to be here this evening. Please tell me if you can hear something in the background, because I've got a fan on, which I will turn off if it's too hot. The reason why I've got a fan on is because all of us are toasty and hot. John, of course, is where he is. It's about 30 degrees hotter, but he's used to it, so he can style it out.
Artist.
But he is joining me in the Guns Out Brigade tonight. So me and John are the Guns Out Brigade. So if anyone plays Guns Out this evening, both me and John will flex, not just me. So that is you're getting a two for
one.
this evening. Exactly. So without further ado, good evening. It's Saturday night, and welcome to this sweaty and hot night of Boys from the Baltic Star. We are here. It's Saturday, and on Saturday we play a range of games, and this Saturday is no different. We are returning to one of our favourite games, which is Tony and Rudi, the Tony and Rudi Adventures. We'll go into that in a second about what it's all about, but it does mean we get to have one of our favourite people with us. More about him in a second. But before that, if it's your first time here, you are very welcome. Thank you so much for giving us a try. You have indeed joined on the hot stud night with John here and the guns and everything. So it's a good night. Not all nights are quite as sexy and hot and steamy, but we try from time to time. We will run, I don't know, 2 and a bit hours, something like that. So feel free to stay for the whole time or drop in and out. It's up to you. There will be a break at some point. Normally I'll forget about it, and then one of them will message me because they need the loo or a cat needs feeding or something, and then we'll have a hurried break. So feel free to take a break at that point. Feel free to chat and lurk. You are absolutely right, John. Lurkers are loved here. We love our lurkers. We love our chatters. If you want to chat, chat. If you want to lurk, lurk. We'll never shout. We'll never call you out as a lurker, but we will interact with you if you're a chatter. You can chat amongst yourselves or with us. If any of us are not busy at any point, we'll probably join in the chat with you. Things you say might become part of the story. You never know. We love canon. We love messing with canon, and we love you being part of canon. So get involved. There is a red sun there, speaking of canon, which you can click on and spend some points. Some will affect the game, like naming an NPC, or getting one of our heroes to regale us with a tale, or get them a boon. They love a boon. Most of the other things are left out. I've done well if you're making one. So if you order a drink or food, you have to get them in for everyone. That's nice. But other than that, they're mostly silly things this evening. One of my favourite things, of course, is that John's on, so we can have this on for this evening.
I am invincible!
We can celebrate Rudi's unbeaten record, but more about that
Invincible indeed.
Invincible.
I am invincible!
There we go. So, so click on that red and see what you want. Any pinkish one will play music, and they'll get us to do things. Whether Ben has to drink or pose, or we just stand for Ewan. Have a look and see what takes your fancy. There is one thing we keep as 1 credit and 1 credit always, which is I'll drink to that. If there's something that feels like you need to toast it or agree with or something like that, for just 1 credit and 1 credit only, it is the credit of the comrade, where we can just spend 1 little credit to agree and get involved in the chat. So feel free to use that. Yes, pink is sound. You're absolutely correct, John. So let's talk about who we are and what we're playing. So we are playing a game called Tony and Rudi, which is set in the 1930s. It's a homebrew setting based on the Those Dark Places rule set, which is rather fantastic. Have we got an exclamation mark, Those Dark Places? We must have, I reckon. Someone do something. Do something, someone.
Anything.
Do something. Come on.
Something.
Do something.
Do something. Don't panic. Don't panic. Which is a game that we also run. We're running it next week, Those Dark Places, in fact. But we've ripped up those rules from science fiction, industrial horror, and we switched it across to the 1930s with men in colourful trousers drinking wine. And it just suits very, very well. But who is playing this magical game? Well, I'm not playing. I'm telling my side of the story. And my name is Luke, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. And it's a pleasure. Don't you? I saw that. I'm making a note. Everything Ewan suggests is a lie.
I didn't do anything. It wasn't me.
Typical. Speaking of the man who never did anything, grudgingly, as much as I hate him sometimes, he is still my brother from another mother. He is the housewife's favourite, the Floofmeister General, the sweatiest man in town. He is our wonderful Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hey, Nick, I'm good, thanks. So, it's questionable now. I was doing really well. He's mostly the man who's never done anything that cut to the core. No, I'm good.
Good. You've been out watching dancing all day. I hope the artistry has switched over to this evening and you're going to bring the creativity with you.
It was really appropriate. There was a ballet number to a the Without Words piece of Gaston, as well as the theme song from Ratatouille, which is very French. You know,
Very
so it felt really appropriate. Yeah, it was good. Got me in the mood.
I'm glad, and it's getting you in the mood to play a certain character. And who is that character?
Oh, that's a very good point. It's almost as if I meant to segue into the fact that I am playing the very French Gaston Delarue this evening. I forget which age is which. A 30-year-old Frenchman who has been sent after his acquaintances, friends. I'll let them decide. In order to find out a story, hopefully for Ce Soir newspaper. He's tagged on to the Tony and Rudi duo, and has been caught up in some kind of shenanigans. I'm not sure what's going on. He's not sure what's going on, but here we are.
Would you say he's a treasured member of the trio, or would you say he's like an unwanted third wheel?
I don't think that's my place to say, really. I mean, I could say either, and it would not be of any further relevance than if Ben or John said it. Certainly, if Tony or Rudi said it.
Wow, I'm sure.
I don't know. He feels very welcomed by the pair. That I can say.
They're very welcoming folk. Perhaps the most welcoming is the smartest man in any room, because he is more of a bon vivant, of course. He has not let the occult wear him down as much as our other friends. Whereas this man is still the smartest man, who lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence, who sneaks into Sock Fiddler's house in the dead of night, leaving his chocolatey deposits in her drawers for her to discover in the morning.
And all because the lady loves milk tray.
It is Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, it's a million degrees here, of course, so a little bit stifled, but other than that, well enough.
Good. I'm glad. Are you feeling full of Tony power this evening?
I have a feeling that Tony is going to spend most of this evening looking incredibly confused and baffled. So essentially, when you look at my face and I look incredibly confused and baffled, just remember that's Tony as well.
So you're basically just reusing the expression you had in the last 10 minutes of yesterday's stream, then?
Yes, that's probably true. And that's true, even though Socks did not go through with a threat to make me tell a joke.
So, tell us a bit about Tony for the uninitiated, the ones that want to know about him but have always been too afraid to ask.
Tony is a man in his 30s. He is Italian, and he's a sort of archivist, researcher, archaeologist, historian by trade, and a very, very old friend of Rudi Otto, who will be introduced shortly, and a relatively new friend to Gaston, who has just joined us for this new adventure. We have in his back catalogue a certain amount of physical enthusiasm and a certain amount of drinking and eating the finer things in life. And he is, by nature, somebody who enjoys this exciting lifestyle of going off to pursue mysteries and adventures around Europe. So he is a lovely chap to play.
And he's a lovely, lovely chap to spend time around as well. What a joy it is. But if we're speaking of joys, I have much more joy for this one last person because I don't see him too often, and it's a pleasure. I saw him on Monday night because he has started streaming on his own channel on his quest to be able to make money out of Twitch. You'll really appreciate those €7.50 a month if you're anything like us that we tend to make. He is the Greek god himself. He is carved of marble. His chest, his abs, his forearms, his biceps, his chin, his jaw. He plays a boxer because in real life he's fought and won all our hearts. He is the delicious John. Good evening, John. How are you?
Good evening, Luke and everyone. Thank you very much for that unfitting intro, but still, thank you. I am John. I am indeed from Greece. If it's 1,000,000 degrees where everybody else is, trust me, it's a lot hotter here. And yeah, I'm John from Legitimate Games. I am super excited to play for once more and embody the role of this character, which I've grown to be very fond of, Rudi Otto. And a little bit about Rudi Otto, you say, Luke. Yes, I will talk about Rudi if you want then.
Yeah,
if you
go
insist.
On, then. Go on. Twist my arm.
Rudi Otto is a man in his mid-50s. He was born in Germany, but he's really caravan raised. A caravan that was all around Europe, maybe more. And he's a citizen of the world. And during his late teens, he discovered a knack for bare knuckle boxing. Began from underground waging places, and he actually became a pro in the heavyweight division because he's a very big man. He's 6'3" or something. At least he used to be, and at least 250 pounds. And he was competing in the official heavyweight rankings, world heavyweight rankings in the 1930s, and he reached a record, groundbreaking, undefeated record of 9-0, official at least, because as the fans know, it's more than 9-0. And when he was about to challenge the current era's champion for the title, he decided, you know what? You can retire now that you're on top. You have all the money you need, Rudi. Do what? To go after the thing that you're really in love with, and that is the world of academia and history. And to everyone's surprise, how strange life is. After his 30s, he started studying what he always wanted to do. And when during his the next years, he met Tony, and together they formed this duo. And after many adventures, right now we are facing his darkest period yet, and maybe ever. He was once donning a beautiful mustache. Now he has a beard. He has actually lost some weight because he doesn't drink. He doesn't eat all that much, but rather drinks a lot. And he is now, from the world of history and facts, he has now delved deep into the world of mysteries and the occult. And that's my intro for now.
Fantastic. So that's what we've got to look forward to for the rest of this evening. We are a number of episodes deep in the current adventure that they're on, but I'm sure you'll pick up on it quickly. It's a pretty shallow, easy to follow story, so you'll be absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. If you need a shorthand for anything, basically, Gaston's chirpy. He's a reporter, and his family owned a vineyard. Tony owns several pairs of trousers, which he loves, but tend to be cursed with things getting spilt on them. And Rudi likes to poke people and say "aha" and things like that. That's their whole characters yes. Summed up in.
That's the best abridged version I could have ever hoped for. We could have saved ourselves like 40 minutes.
Yeah, where's the fun in that? I say.
No, exactly.
Anyway, are we ready for this evening's introduction before we let you loose in this this fun land?
Let us loose.
Yes, I think so.
Fantastic. Okay.
Release us.
I will do it. I'm just worried about what you'll do to destroy my beautifully crafted world.
Unchain your player characters. Let us free. We want to roleplay.
Let free just to be confused. Okay, here we go. It is December 1937, just over half a year since the fateful voyage of the SS Cannes that left numerous innocent and not so innocent people dead, and numerous pairs of Tony Guerrero's trousers ruined beyond the capabilities of the best dry cleaners in Milan. I know little of what Tony and Rudi did for the months following their journey across the Mediterranean. I am neither their servant or accountant. However, it was in the November of 1937 when I heard their names spoken of once more. I'd been starting to wonder what amazing adventures they may have found themselves wrapped up in, when I heard tell of their invitation to speak at the academic symposium at the Carlton Hotel in... I know, you've heard this countless of times over the hours we spent together. But that's part of the gimmick. You see, we're doing one of those time resetting, timey-wimey kind of storylines, you know. Those of you that were here for the second and fourth Sam Moritz episodes may remember Ben's soul visibly dissolving inside of him as time reset itself after the brutal deaths of hotel guests in front of him, pretty much setting him as the main culprit probably for all the deaths. I'm sure. First died Peter de Groot, slitting his own throat in the blizzard at 3 o'clock in the morning. Secondly, after time had reset, jovial Flavio Esposito threw himself off the balcony overlooking the cosy dining room at the Le Petit Grand Hotel where our heroes are staying. These two gentlemen did have something in common. They were both hypnotized by the great Bauman in the evening's post-dinner entertainment. They were hypnotized to seek out evil. Yet, our three heroes, Tony, Rudi and young Gaston, were not afforded the chance to mourn these deaths or even to let them properly sink in, as immediately both times time reset itself to the same moment that Friday evening shortly before dinner was served. The same faces would be sat at the same tables, with the same drinks, the same starters and mains being prepared in the same kitchen for them to enjoy, the same gathering clouds threatening the same snowfall as the same evening darkness started to fall at the same time on that same Friday. To start with, our heroes attempted to make small changes to the timeline, picking at the edges, as it were, seeing what they could change and seeing if there was anything they couldn't. Rudi, especially, ever the thoughtful one, left marks in his diary and upon himself to cancel out different theories. He wondered whether they'd been conned, drugged, whether they're dreaming, have gone mad, or if this whole affair has something to do with the fabled bracelet of Mary Magdalene, a powerful relic from a previous adventure. These small changes and deviations became larger as our heroes became bolder, and dare I say more desperate, to get to the bottom of their circumstances. A mysterious shadowy figure in the great Bauman's room twice led to an instant reset of the evening. A direct confrontation of Bauman led to his suicide and a reset. Our heroes seem at risk of losing all sense of reality and mental stability as things go on. However, there are enough handholds to cling onto to save themselves from spiralling into this madness. Both botanist Claire Spelling and the lovely receptionist Sylvie seem to have the feeling of déjà vu and of having experienced the evening before. The great hypnotist and nightly performer, the great Bauman, surely has some idea of what's going on, but he clearly isn't going to tell. The dark and out of focus shadowy figure in the room that's been seen by all three of our heroes, as such, isn't a figment of one of their imaginations. There are events that seemingly can be changed, others that stay the same, patterns in what is said and what is done among the hotel guests that have carried over from Friday to Friday to Friday, and others that differ. In the last flurry of deaths and resets, there was also a flurry of information. We found out about those who had asked specific questions about the bracelet during the symposium presentation. We learnt about external scenery that had not been seen before the evening, changing between resets. We'd learnt that Bauman was getting a telegram every day to tell him what to perform. We learnt that Sylvie knew when the snow was just about to fall. We discovered the shadowy figure in room 2. And most importantly, we discovered what Tony's fourth best pair of trousers looked like. Amongst all this, there is one constant. The moth-eaten but still proud stuffed bear that stands stoically in the hallway by reception. Hats and umbrellas piled upon him, but with glass eyes gazing deep into the souls of all those who pause to gaze back. That bear could certainly tell many tales with what it has seen. But what it currently sees is that it is December 1937, just over half a year since the fateful voyage of the SS Cannes that left numerous innocent and not so innocent people dead, and numerous pairs of Tony Guerrero's trousers ruined beyond the capabilities of the best dry cleaners in Milan. Tony and Rudi have returned to the humble Le Petit Grand for their evening meal. From now on, our story is shared, and is theirs to tell as much as it is mine. So all I will do is set the scene in the dining hall of Le Petit Grand, and then hand over to our fair heroes. So, as we join you, the three of you find yourselves sat back at that table, directly in front of the fire, as people are looking at the dining hall, far on the right-hand side between those two doorways, one to the kitchen, one to the hallway. You're sat at the nearest table, the smell of food starting to waft out the kitchen, that beautiful pine wood everywhere around the dining hall, Christmas decorations, holly and ivy hanging up, the greenery, a grand tree, the chatter of hotel guests as listed next to me, and evening diners alike filling the tables scattered around the hall. The great Bauman sat against the north as we're looking at the dining hall. The brothers sat by him, and generally a great sense of happiness and joy after a wonderful day listening to Tony and Rudi discussing their previous adventure. Waiters coming and going, bringing drinks, preparing people to enjoy their evening of food and entertainment. And this is where I pass back over to our three heroes.
Just to be clear, Luke, still with the knowledge of all the other Fridays that have occurred.
Absolutely.
I thought as much.
Rudi is standing like that, massaging his forehead or something. I cannot believe we have restarted again. Jesus.
This is very frustrating.
What's the last thing everyone remembers?
The last thing last time, or the last thing the time before that?
That's so confusing. But I think
right.
what Gaston is trying to figure out is that I think that we have discovered that the great Bauman is merely a pawn into this, and he's not the instigator of this situation we find ourselves caught up.
The last time, I don't know if it was actually me who reset the time, but when I went to Bauman's room and confronted that figure, the shadowy figure, it reset immediately.
The very
Yes,
last
and
one
when,
was the very last one. So you remember it was Bauman jumping to his death. You asked him to show the levitation act, and he jumped.
Yeah.
we have seen it too now. You're not the only one who has seen it. And it spoke that the evil not been found. In all our travels, we have faced cultists, madmen, political figures, criminals, and even on our last voyage, we came across something that could not be described anything else but supernatural. But that thing, he looks up into the ceiling, approximately where the room number 2 is, like if it's over there in the ceiling, and he says, and that thing, that's, if I'm correct, right now over there, it's unlike anything I've ever encountered before. And all this, he takes up his notepad with the occult notes that he has. It's for nothing. He slams it on the table. We don't know what it is, and we cannot dispel it and fight back.
I suppose at least we know what it is. We just don't know why it is.
I'm not sure I know what it is either. I think there may be more to discover about that.
In relation to, he gestures at the table, and the three of them sat there. In relation to the situation we find ourselves in, we know we must be pretty sure what it is, but not why.
Huh.
I think we can rule out all the possibilities of being conned or this is all a trick or something like it. No. This is the reality that we are facing, gentlemen. Looks around left and right to Flavio, to the Groots, to Esposito brothers, very suspiciously, to Bauman, of course, but like only passing glance, it says, no, this is not a human mind's trickery that stands behind all this. It is truly the work of supernatural, divine, hellish, or unknown. It's up to us to figure out why and how, and, all the questions. But it did spoke, and I think from what Tony told us, it said the same thing twice, that the evil has not been found.
Yes.
And we can assume that the first two tricks that the great Bauman showcases are merely deceptions, merely trickeries. But the third one, the one that he receives from that telegraph, is the one that's actually not a parlor trick, but rather a spell, an incantation, a hex. I do not know its nature, but I know that it ends up with people dying each and every time.
I was able to prove that it isn't that we're being drugged, because in the last iteration I was very, very careful to only drink things. I didn't eat anything at all, and I only drank things that I could guarantee couldn't have been tampered with. So we're not being drugged. But it isn't a perfect recreation each time. There are some slight variations. And I think they may be related to the fact that, as you say, the evil hasn't been found. So there is some quest going on that we're a party to. It does change things as it goes through. It's not a completely identical reset. But here is my first question. Gaston, Do you think you can secure a date with Sylvie for this evening?
How does that help our situation? I want our friends to have some fun as well. But
I mean,
what's the meaning of this, Tony?
If the safety of the world is at stake, then
Rudi laughs with a thunderous laughter that shakes the table or something.
The future of all of humanity may depend on you getting a date with Sylvie.
I laugh in and out of game.
I suspect that Sylvie knows more than she's told us, but I don't know that she knows, if you see what I mean. I think she's been through this multiple times, and something's leaking into her brain, perhaps, and giving her little moments of deja vu and insight into what's coming. She may not be aware of the fact that she's looping, but she knows what's going on.
Interesting proposition. Let us explore it via scientific methods. I've noticed that nobody else, in fact, besides us, has shown any signs of awareness of what's happening. What does Sylvie have shown that's any different?
And hers, to be clear, was very different from you and my experience. There was certainly, unless she was a very good liar, there was certainly no material knowledge or memory of.
And we don't truthfully know how sharp she is. You know, she may be not quite as observant as we are. We know she's not as discriminating. She's prepared to date Gaston. But I think there may be information that can be gleaned from her. Given that we have a limited amount of time in each cycle, do you think we should race immediately this time straight up to room 2?
I think we did that last time, and it did end up pretty well for us.
It didn't help, yes.
Well, it's not gone badly. We got an extra dinner out of it. Nobody's in danger. We're all perfectly safe at this present moment.
And unfortunately, punching the Great Bowman didn't work out either. Although maybe we could try it a few more times. I wouldn't mind that.
That seems agreeable.
I think if we are forced to live this same evening over and over and over again, then the very least we can do is entertain ourselves by making sure that Bauman gets a split lip every single time.
Maybe yes, but no. Let's get back into Sylvie for a moment, gentlemen.
Careful,
Tony. I always trust your judgment. Do you really think that she may have something no one else besides us three here has? An awareness, an acute understanding of what's happening of some sorts.
Shadowy figure upstairs. We've seen it in the window. We've seen it in the room directly. It's Bauman's
That's where
room.
it is right now. Yes.
So we've just reset. So we think it's up there now. Yes.
Yes.
That would make sense.
Jawohl.
Maybe it's time to go direct to Bauman the first time we can lay eyes on him. March him outside into the snow and beat him until he tells us what we need to know.
I honestly think that's the exact method I tried last time. I think he told us about the letter he receives every Friday, but I don't think, my punches hit his liver pretty good. I felt his air leaving out of his body. I felt the pain that would kneel any man. Yes, nobody would be standing still from that shot. So I don't think he had the endurance, nay, the will to sustain and withhold any secrets from after punching him that hard.
It's a long shot, but the evil that has not been found. I don't want to say I found it, but do you remember the Bauman's steak? So salty, so chewy, so well done. And the amount of butter that was on the bread.
He basically turned it to leather, didn't he? Yeah.
As a, I'm not saying all of the best food comes from France, but as a Frenchman, that, my friends, is evil.
Speaking of evil, someone who's definitely very not evil approaches the table. It is the lovely Philippe, of course, the waiter, whose only crime in this world has ever been to spill wine on Tony's trousers.
Multiple times.
Multiple times. He approaches with his little notebook as always. Ah, Messieurs Rudi, Tony, Gaston, I believe, Monsieur de la Rue. Can I get you three gentlemen drinks before the starters come out this evening?
You know what, my dear Philippe? Tonight I've tried drinking, not drinking, getting drunk, not getting drunk. But it all gets me back to where I am, doesn't it? And his looks at Philippe with like with a man that has been experiencing the same night for at least 4 nights in a row, besides all the other experience that he had, just to perplex him. But he doesn't do it just to have some fun. Like, can't you really help me? Like, he has that desperate look on his eyes, like,
Could you please roll for me your charisma, and I'll give you occult. I'm not saying it's occulty based,
really?
but it's that,
Nice.
it's that darkness in your soul.
Yes, he's very dark. He's the darkest Rudi we ever played. Let me get my dice tray. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons dice tray. No affiliations here.
1d6.
Yeah.
Add your 3 and add your 1.
4 plus 4, that's an 8.
That's good enough. Philippe stares deep into your eyes. You see a slight look of sorrow pass over him, as if he's sad of your plight, and he can feel the tiredness. He's a good waiter. He understands the emotions of those that he's serving. He nods his head almost understandingly. Monsieur Otto, this week for you has no doubt been incredibly tiring, and I've heard that your session today was magnifique. It was truly the best presentation so far at the symposium, and I understand that yourself and Monsieur Guerrero must be very tired. I tell you what, gentlemen, I shall go and prepare for you a special drink that will be perfect to reinvigorate tired souls. And he scurries off.
Is he going to go get us 3 vodka and Red Bulls? seems out of place.
Before he leaves, Rudi, maybe he mumbles to himself, "Not this week, my dear Philippe, just this day. Just this day."
Oh, deep.
That's deep. Yes. And he says to Tony, "You know what? What the hell? You have ruled off getting drugged already, so whatever they served us cannot be any worse than we already experienced it thus far. But maybe before we unleash Gaston to Sylvie, and we go to bully a great Bauman or whatever it's that we're gonna do tonight again. Can we please, gentlemen, return to this theory that I have? He tries to find it on his notepad for a second, but then he remembers I have to write it all down again. Yes, he starts. He's not a real painter, but he does have an artistic flavor after all, and he draws a bracelet, a simple bracelet. And we return a bit to that theory of mine. Is it possible that spirit of sorts is interconnected with the other supernatural element that we have discovered in our journeys somehow? What do you think about it?
I assume I recognize the sketch he's drawn.
It's clearly of a bracelet, but I think you can get the memo.
Yeah. I can't rule it out because it is, after all, just today that we delivered our speech. So maybe it isn't Bauman who's being haunted. Maybe it's us.
No, this restart starts after our speech every time. There is nothing we can do to change what we said, and most importantly, to change what happened back then. But what is that word? If that thing is fixated on finding evil, does that make it a benevolent spirit?
It has to have agency. It can't be unthinking, because if it were like an ancient curse that we'd unleashed, it might apply to us, but it wouldn't apply to Gaston. He's caught up in this with us because something has made a decision that he's caught up with us.
It's very good. What if I were to leave?
Good.
So if we're the target,
we should have been the only two resetting. Yes. But since it's Gaston as well, it's not directly involved with the bracelet. I hear that. That makes some sense.
So there are two obvious possibilities. One, there is some mystical organization of powerful individuals that are obsessed with the item in question, and we are being punished or tortured in the hope that we will reveal its location or bring it out to defend ourselves from this curse, because they want it or don't think we should have it or something like that. That's a possibility, right?
If that was the case, as you said, most probably Gaston would have been a victim like everybody else around here, and wouldn't remember anything. It would be just us two being tormented.
Which makes one obvious other possibility.
So what's your second thesis?
You and I are being tortured in a mystical manner because of the bracelet, and the only person who shares that fate with us must therefore be the one who is doing it.
He looks at Gaston. Rudi does. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless, in fact.
If it's the bracelet, it's someone doing it to all three of us for unknown reasons. But as you say, it's unlikely to be including Gaston. Or Gaston is doing it in the hope that we will eventually crack and reveal what happened to the bracelet.
At this point, Gaston bolts upright from his chair and pushes it flying behind him. He doesn't say anything, but looks at the two of them.
Rudi doesn't. When he looks at Gaston, he has an apologetic look at his face, like he's not. Yeah, he doesn't seem to believe that, but he's shocked a bit and thinking.
As he's thinking, Philippe wanders back over with a tray with 3 glasses on it. They're large glasses full of liquid. He says, "Sirs, here are your special pick-me-ups. I know that many people here say that schnapps is a fine pick-me-up, but for you, a special drink for extra pick-me-up." And he lays them out. A double schnapps.
Large schnapps.
Yes.
Twice as pick-me-up.
Twice as pick-me-up. Please, sirs, please enjoy. I must go, and for the starters, will be coming out soon. Will you be taking your starters at this table, sirs?
I don't know anything what to believe anymore, my dear Philippe.
I think we've often taken the starters here, but we've also taken them outside. I don't think it makes much difference. But I'm tempted to say we should head out onto that outdoor terrace bar and have our starters there. All three of us together.
Philippe looks at the three of you and pauses and nods. Very good, Monsieur Guerrero. If you take your place at the outside bar, we shall send the soup out after you.
Thank you.
Please remember, sirs, the soup will get cold rather quickly outside.
I imagine it will. But I've always enjoyed gazpacho.
Then you shall enjoy this soup muchly. John can't hear us at the second, by the way. I don't know why.
Yes, I just saw that pop up in chat.
Talk amongst yourselves. Is he resetting? We might all need a reset. Oh, no, there we go. Let's see.
We might all need to, yeah.
That's it. Bear with us, chat. This is a very short process. It's just we hit a button each. There we go. I better do the same. Ewan's back. Lovely, lovely.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Ben is back. Can you hear me?
Hello, hello. Bonjour,
Yes.
bonjour.
It's just John. It's just John then. I might reset as well, but that will put all our pictures everywhere, I'm guessing. Oh no, normal. Okay, we're all back. Just John. Just have a little pause. We don't want John to miss out. Can you two still hear me?
Yes.
I can.
And chat.
Yes, I've got you.
My mic, my graphic equalizer is bobbing up when I talk, so chat can hear me too. I hope you didn't miss too much.
Fancy.
Oh no, we're a high-tech stream.
Graphic equalizers and whatnot.
I hope his webcam isn't smoking like he worried about. It was running so hot.
Yeah.
Well, if it's taking a couple of minutes, maybe we should take our sort of interval break now and reconnect everything and come back after a break.
A break, yes. Wait, let's do that. Let's take a. Hang on,
Yeah.
he's back. Wait.
Oh.
You just need a. You were just hoping for a quick breath of fresh air.
Well, I was thinking we'd do one in 15 minutes anyway, so now might.
You fresh air addict, you. Rudi, can you hear us? Rudi, can you hear us? Rudi, a message to you, Rudi. Stop your messing around.
Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Ah, yes, I can hear you, John.
Stopped it.
Yes, it was my bad. My bad. Sorry, apologies to everyone.
That's all good.
That's
No.
all right.
No
Philly,
need.
we'll run for a little bit longer then. Philly, so that my beer in the fridge can keep cooling down for a little bit. Purely for selfish reasons. So Philippe has indeed agreed to Tony's request to eat on the outside bar. And he's told you that he will bring the soups out to you at the bar if you wish to go out there to partake of the air and the atmosphere. And he scurries off back to the kitchen.
Won't you join us, Gaston, so we might speak in private?
Gaston takes a very long look up and down at Tony. And his face and his expression and his so far unspoiled trousers. It's very elegant. Very
On this
disconcerting.
cycle, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Of course.
And
He'll pick up his drink.
enjoy our schnapps, and they'll bring us soup.
He's already knocked back his schnapps and he puts it down and says, yes. Soup.
Okay, I'm going to head outside, and hopefully Gaston and Rudi will follow.
Yes, Rudi takes his. He follows, but then turns around, goes back to the table, take his occult notebook, and then joins the others.
Oh, good save. Of
Yeah,
course,
he tries to find anything about spirit apparatuses, well, zeitgeist, all the whatever notes he has about beings such as this.
of course, you can do that as we walk. Take a roll on education and occult, please, but keep that quiet for a second. Roll it, but don't tell me for a second, okay? So it'll be adding your education and occult. So as Tony and Gaston, you sort of walk through. You notice that Rudi is sort of a bit behind with his nose in his notebook, of course. But the two of you pass through. You pass the tables that are set up with the Espositos and Van Beek and De Groot, and then the table with Julian Peters and Claire Spelling, which is one next to yours, and so on. And Jean and Nancy in the corner. And you head through the main door, and you head out to the hallway towards reception. Of course, there is the bear, the beautiful bear with the coats, and the gentleman next to it, the staff who hands each of you your jackets, your coats, if you so wish to take. As always, as every time you've come here, of course, there's a few people coming through reception and heading out to the outside bar because it is a beautiful bar. It has a lovely view of the mountains in the distance. It's looking away from town, so the Carlton is up there, sort of in the distance, but you're looking more to the side at the mountains. It's a beautiful setting with a few tables. There's sort of a bar table along the outside where you sat previously, and an outside bar area. There's a few people there. There are a few people sort of smoking and drinking before the meal. And you head out into that crispy cold. There are plenty of seats to choose from.
Okay. Since they're going to bring us soup, I think we should find a table, because eating soup standing up is a low-calorie activity. So I'm going to head for an empty table. If there is one, make sure there's, at least one empty table between us and the next group of people.
That is doable. You'll be looking at, in fact, the best one for that is, you see where it says outside bar? You're looking at to the left of that. So
okay.
You're overlooking one side of it, and there's sort of a couple of empty tables near that, so you can perch there. There's 4 chairs there, and a round table there.
Excellent. I shall take a seat, and if I'm being followed by Gaston, I shall watch him carefully as he joins me.
Yes, he will. He will join you. He was a little bit shocked at first. I'm still a little bit shocked, as you know, but he has no reason to not sit at the table with what Ben described earlier as good friends. I believe
That's right.
all of this began. Yeah, of course he will. He'll of course wait for Rudi to join before seating, and just sit down with the rest of them if that is the case.
What did you roll, Rudi?
Voila! I rolled my best roll. It's a 6. The total of a 10.
So as you were passing the bear, as you flicked through all your your old notes, there was no notes on, I guess, historical spiritual things, or like historical religious stuff that would tie in with what you're going through at the minute. The closest you would get is ties in with the occult and hypnotism. The sort of the feeding,
So no,
the feeding of, I guess, the feeding of thoughts into someone's mind of being in a certain place, I guess, is about.
so nothing about an extra dimensional entity manifesting itself or anything.
No. Merely more psychological rather than spiritual. Is in your
So is that just in my writing, or are you telling me that's the hunch Rudi has right now about what's up there? Are you implying?
I would say both. Rudi's occult is +1 as opposed to +2 because he's still learning. Of course, he's only moved into the occult in the last time. But in your experience over the last since you were recovering in that hospital, after the train, yeah, from that time, there's nothing spiritual or religious in this, or like greater strange alien or alienist powers. It's more, if anything, it's the hypnosis, the power of the mind, the power of suggestion, the control of people through that way.
So most definitely you're saying we cannot rule out the possibility of hypnosis just yet. And maybe we're seeing that thing that we're seeing that's not really there. Maybe.
It's, again, that's possible. That would tie in that the hallucinations of things like that. This can't be ruled out either if you're going down that angle, yes.
Well, even my best die result is not gonna help me much right now. That's what I'm getting.
It cancelled out I'd say it cancelled out anything spiritual or extraterrestrial, I would say.
Okay. That's something. So yeah, you see Rudi joining the very tense table of Tony and Gaston, but he's like well deep into his notes, like he barely sees you when he sits down and says, you hear him mumbling, nothing supernatural, nothing, no spirits, something like it.
I'm going to reach into my jacket pocket and take out a small, elegantly bound Italian moleskin notebook and a pen.
As you reach in, Gaston almost goes to leap up out of his chair.
I'm going to open it at a blank page and then hold it in my hand so what I'm doing can't be seen by the others, and hold the pen next to it. And then I'm going to say to Gaston, so Just a couple of very simple questions, really, which I'm sure you will have no difficulty in answering with great accuracy and precision. When exactly did you decide to come and join us here? And was it your idea to come and interview us for the story about the bracelet?
Gaston gestures over for another drink to the bar staff and sits back in the chair and pulls out from his own pocket a notepad and jots down.
All three of us are like with nobody's right now.
Yeah. And this is the first time I'd been on the questioning end of a Tony and Rudi investigation. They cut straight to the point. Put it away briefly. I'll be frank with friends. This is my first reporting job, as it were. I was hired by Sessoir because of my friendship, my relationship with the two of you. They thought it would be an easier way to gain information about the famous Tony and Rudi. And so I in need of a job and in need of some money, pretty sharpish, I accepted quite quickly and made my way here.
And were you aware of the story of the bracelet before you were offered the position?
I would say as aware as anybody else in the world was. I've read the same thing as everybody else. I've been able to access the same information about the the presentation that you're giving regarding the bracelet. My apologies, Monsieur Tony, Monsieur Rudi. It doesn't seem as though it's the most underhanded of affairs.
No, it is not. In many ways, it was an interesting expedition, but the dark side of it only happened later. However, I make a little note on my notebook, and I say, truthfully, I don't think it's likely that you are doing this to us. But I do have a thought, and I slide the notebook across to the middle of the table so that they can see it. And written on it is the sentence: if whoever's doing this can modify time, do you think they can freeze time?
As we all sit there in silence, not saying anything, as if frozen in time. Gaston will reply, I'm not sure we would ever know. Would we be aware?
Here is my reasoning or question, I suppose. And I'm going to pull the notebook back and write underneath it. Do we know if the bear is stuffed or frozen?
The bear? He says out loud, confused. The actual bear in the reception. In the reception, you mean, the bear?
Yeah, the bear.
So we're really including into one of the possibilities that it's someone inside the bear or something?
It's a very unusual bear. And we've walked past it, well, more times than I can easily count now. And
I have to say, I did want to punch it a couple of times, but I think it was just me.
It's not entirely the bear's fault that we've walked past it several times. I would say it's more a causality than a...
I'm certainly not blaming the bear until I've had a chance to examine the bear. But until had a chance to examine the bear...
How have we come down to this? We've narrowed down all the other possibilities that we're investigating that stuffed, stupid bear in the reception. No. I cannot allow us to drag ourselves into that situation just yet. The thing is that in all my researches in all my notes I'm researching all this time, some reason still baffles me. But I feel my hunch is telling me that it's not an actual spirit that's behind of this an extraterrestrial being of some sorts, but more that the power of the mind. It's more like we are being hypnotized, hypnotized, whatever that verb is. Sorry, I don't
You're hypnotized. Yeah.
Hypnotized, yeah. Or someone is still playing a trick to us. Very hard to explain because what my hunch tells me differs from what I saw and heard from the room number 2. But I don't think that the bear or turning on one each other or even Sylvie would have the answers. I do afraid that this, I have to say, my dear bestest of friend, Tony Guerrero, that this reset, I disagree with almost everything you have said this far.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that you're wrong. But I have to say it out loud. That this reset, maybe it's
Luke,
not your best one.
A sort of question.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this shadowy figure through a window a couple of times and up close, like right in my face at one point.
Yes.
How big is it physically? Is it taller than me, bulkier than me, or smaller and skinnier?
How tall is Tony Guerrero?
Around about 6 feet.
He's
Luke, don't say Gaston size, whatever you do.
Yeah. How tall's Gaston? What is Tony's shape? Well, what sort of shape is he?
He's probably not as fit as he would like to be, but reasonably broad-shouldered for a man of action.
Daring do.
Yeah, he does have his daring do, doesn't
he?
I would say the black. I vaguely described it previously. I'm going to describe it again, I guess, but with size from what we've seen. It is a shape that looks human size, probably slightly shorter than you. I reckon you would guess it as 5'9" to 5'10", probably. Um, of a, it's hard to tell the exact size because the black shape is blurry, as if it's phasing in and out somewhat.
Yep.
You know, as if you're, you know, like at night where you try and look at something, and when you look at it, because of the cones and rods in your eyes, if you look directly at it, you don't see it so well. But if you see it out the corner of your eye, you kind of see it, but it's not quite there, and so on. Every time you try and focus on the edge of it, that becomes blurry. So you can tell it's man-sized, a bit smaller than you, very human, you know, human arms, human legs, human head. But there is that blurry, alternate reality almost vibe to it.
Yeah.
Very black. No, you can't see any features or anything.
I've heard of one thing. Are you both familiar with? Obviously, it seems ridiculous. You're both familiar with breathing, of course.
With what now?
Breathing. The inhalation of air, the exhalation of carbon monoxide.
The mechanical process, yes, absolutely.
Are you familiar with what happens to the brain if there's not enough oxygen and there is in fact too much carbon monoxide?
Medicine and science is not my forte. I'm more of a man of boxing and academia, but if you have a theory, please do ahead and continue.
I hear sort of on the street that oxygen is important.
Mm-hmm. There are people that claim to have had I'm not sure of the details, but hallucinations of, when deprived of oxygen or exposed to too much.
I don't think that our brains are capable of conjuring such elaborate stories with dialogues and interactions, and us within those stories being so thorough and thinking everything through. If we were being suffocated as we speak in reality, I think what we would experience would be much hectic and confusing. This is like very elaborate. Feels so real. He pinches his arm. He does feel the standard like itchy pain of being pinched, right?
Yeah.
Luke,
Yes, he does. Yeah.
this feels so real.
As you're talking, Philippe comes out with
course.
three bowls of soup and places them on the table with cutlery. So he sort of pulls out of his pocket, carefully gives them a bit of a polish, places it down. Enjoy your starters, sir. Will you wish for the mains out here as well?
I think my friend Tony has a question about the beautiful stuffed animal you have in the reception area.
Oh,
Yes.
The stuff. Do you mean the bear?
Well, yes, is it that? I will actually let my friend inquire about the beast
Yes,
you have there.
I'm curious about where the bear came from.
Well, the bear's name is Yanis.
Yanis?
You do know that's my name out of game, right?
I absolutely know that's your name. And he has been part of this hotel for 15 years.
And was it shot locally?
I wouldn't know, sir. The bear has been here far longer than I. People, her Fricker, the manager, he always, if we make a mistake, he always says to us, he always says, "You, unlike Yanis, you are dispensable."
Ah, interesting. An indispensable bear.
He's famous in Semeritz.
Thank you, Philippe. I appreciate the information. I believe we will be returning to the dining room to have our main courses, though.
Very good, sirs. Very good. Please enjoy the soup, and we shall make sure the food is brought to your table by the fire.
Thank you. As soon as he's gone, I will say quietly to the other two, is it possible that the shadowy figure is someone else caught in a different loop to us?
That's a more probable and more intellectual and skeptical question. And the best one you've had this reset, I must say, Tony. So that person, so that thing is not a spirit, as my hunch tells me, my instinct guides me, but rather, what did you just say? Someone else caught in another loop or something?
Yeah, someone who's also going through a loop like us, but not in our loop, a different loop.
Interesting. Sehr interessant. Yes. Almost interesting enough to make me want to go upstairs and ask myself that question. But last time that we contacted, it was a bit too soon. Aha! I had an idea. It said that the evil has not been found, and then we instantly reset it. Something that was completely out of our... we couldn't control it. It was out of our control. What if we wait for tonight's show for Bauman, and after the great Bauman has declared who will be bestowed this great responsibility and curse and gift to know who is evil and who is not, then we will go and contact it once the evil has been found.
Each time he's done it so far, the person he's picked has then found something evil, but it's been relatively trivial, a thief or something like that.
At first, yes.
But has then gone madly looking for more greater evil.
But it takes some time. At least in all like 3 possibilities, at least we have seen it play through. It doesn't happen within the next few minutes. It starts with those trivial things, and then it escalates towards the end of the night. So we would have some time to investigate further.
Maybe what we have to do then is let Bauman do his hypnosis, and then we stay with the person who's doing the evil hunting. Use them as an evil detector.
We did that last time with who was it? Was it? Yes, it was one of the Flavio brothers. We stayed up to him until he passed out, and then out of nothing, he woke up in the middle of the night, and he committed suicide. And then we reset it again. So we don't have to stay with them, but after the curse has been bestowed or whatever, yes, maybe then it's the time to contact that thing or that person caught up in another loop and inquire why.
We can try to communicate with it.
But after Gate Bauman's third act, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
At least up to now, this is the best idea I have.
Yeah. I mean, the worst that happens is it turns out it just wants to kill us or throw us off a building or something, but in that case, we'll probably reset.
But it kind of did kill you before, hasn't it? And you didn't really die.
I mean, it wasn't specifically that. I was towed off a balcony by an unexpectedly heavy person.
You may have survived it, you may have not, but it seemed like a perfectly good opportunity if its desire, its end goal was us being dead, for it to win right then and there. But it resetted. So no, I don't think the physical harm is its goal. If it wants to completely burn out that brain, in that case, it's doing a pretty good job. And he takes a deep sip from his snaps. Then he looks at the other two at his table and he fills up again and says, "Kust, who's cracking this case once and for all. But all of us three together." And he turns to Gaston and then to Tony, and then he makes a purposely nod. Did you, cheer with him, Tintin?
I will nod in sort of agreement and finish my soup, and then prepare to head inside for the main course.
Like this? You finish it like this?
Yes. We will drain the soup.
Gaston will put down his pen and paper that he's pulled out, and he'll finish off his drink. Nod towards Rudi.
Are the three of you all happy to go inside at this point then? If you've finished your soup and you've made some plans?
Yes, reluctantly so. Very cautious. He will also put like his arm over Gaston's shoulder, like the classic friendly tap. And as Tony goes ahead, he will say to Gaston, "You have to understand that the skeptical men like us facing such dire and unexplained situations, we have to investigate, leave no stone unturned."
Indeed. So as we walk into the dining room, can I gently feel the bear with my hand as I go past?
It's not that kind of stream.
I thought you were going to say it's not that kind of bear.
You gently run your hand across Giannis's powerful muscular frame, caressing the arm and the thigh, and you feel the coarse, thick fur beneath your hand.
It isn't warm to the touch, and it feels stiff, like it's stuffed.
Giannis is very stiff at the minute.
No!
Excellent. So as we walk into the dining room, I will turn to the other two and say, "It's not the bear."
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. Not the bear.
Yeah, this is...
Gaston takes a little bit of a step back and is definitely walking closer to Rudi at this point than he is to Tony after being accused and then watching him accuse a stuffed bear and then caress said stuffed bear. He definitely feels much safer in Rudi's company than he does in Tony's.
Yeah, I have to say that Tony's experiencing his weirdest reset yet. It's like
Yeah.
one every 5 resets. One of us comes out very early strains.
It should be said as well briefly after suggesting that if Gaston were to chat up a lady, that might solve the issue. Maybe.
The three of you return to the dining hall. As you return, you almost see like Philippe sees you enter, and as you walk across, he motions to another waiter, and the two of them bring the plates and place them. You see that the rest of the dining hall is full of diners who've just started their mains. The last couple are getting the last other table is getting the steak laid out and so on, and the three of you can sit down and eat. You see the great Bowman, of course, over salt, a very grey steak he's eating. The remains of his heavily buttered bread, sort of dripping butter over the sides of the steak, and the three of you can sort of eat and enjoy that time together as sort of other tables are finishing up, and we're getting again to that sort of stage. Even some drinks are being poured. You know, more people are enjoying that convivial environment. Things are very positive. The people by the window are looking out as there's sort of a gasp and an ooh as you've noticed that snow has started falling outside. A very picturesque view out towards the mountain, and as the dining is passing on and you're sort of finishing off your meals, maybe another schnapps or a wine or so, I think that would be a perfect time to take a break before we head into the second half of the Friday evening.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
So if
Excellent.
If everyone in chat as well, you're welcome. Go take a 5-minute break. We're just going to get some air, go to the loo, refill our glasses and so on, and we'll see you all in a few minutes. We're going to get that intro going. There's the intro. Let's turn them off. Hello, we're back. We're going to run for about another 40 minutes or so. It's the weekend. People have got to be up and things. So, where were we? Ah, yes. Our heroes are sat in the dining hall, finishing their meal, watching those around them. There might be some chat between our heroes about things, trying to keep things low key, not letting people overhear them. And as the plates are cleared away and sort of more drinks are brought out by the serving staff, it is, of course, that time where the great bowman finishes his meal, has one more drink, and readies himself for the evening. The manager, Fricka, comes up to the front of the hall and he smiles deeply at you, bows slightly. Ladies and gentlemen. Yes, so before he goes on, you can.
I had an idea, like if possible, Rudi, while waiting for the show to begin, after Bauman leaves the table, and maybe a bit before, he will be standing outside of their room, like
Okay.
both Rudi, Tony's, and Bauman's, because he says that he receives a telegram, like a letter that has instructions. Maybe if Rudi catches anyone or anything, passes a note underneath his room.
Ah,
Maybe. It's a long shot.
yeah, roll for me a education, please. A flat education. Yeah, flat education.
Okay, let's go. About 8.
From what
That's
you can tell,
success.
during that whole second half of the meal onwards, he has not received a telegram in that time.
Thought as much, yeah. Okay.
Worth testing. Fricka. So as you're sort of wandering back to the table, maybe Rudi, and Fricka stands up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us this evening. You may remember him from his magnificent levitation last night. He's back once again. I'm sure you'll remember the levitation. It was wonderful. Not one to be missed. I'm sure you'd all agree. But tonight, it's something even greater. The great Bowman will wow you with a display of mentalism and hypnotism. So please, all of you, put your hands together for the great Bowman. And you notice that the great Bowman has slipped a cape over his shoulders, and he stands up, flicks the cape back grandly. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the great Bowman, and I'm here this evening to both entertain you and to wow you with great feats of hypnotism. Hypnotism, the great unknown, the mystical powers of the mind that none can explain. I am tonight to hypnotize 3 members of this room with my great power that none understand. So, first, who shall I hypnotize? And he sort of looks around the room slightly.
The bear.
He looks at you, Gaston, raises his eyebrow. He says, "Is that a volunteer, Monsieur?" And he points at you.
Gaston gestures over towards the bear.
It's Giannis.
Giannis.
Heckling. I feel, Monsieur Delarue, I believe it is. Do you fear hypnosis yourself? That you wish to pass it on to a mere stuffed animal?
No. He looks over towards Tony and towards Rudi.
Rudi goes like, we've been through this before.
I do not fear hypnosis. I'll stand up.
Then splendid, young sir. Come forward. This evening I'm trying something a little different. a little special for this for this crowd. He sort of ignores Rudy's rumphing.
Oh,
You, madam, he points at Claire Spelling. You, madam, come to the front with me, for I am going to hypnotize 3 of you with the same power upon
The
you.
same hypnosis.
Yes, young Monsieur Delarue. You, madame, come and join us. Claire looks. In fact, I can tell you how Claire looks. Can each of you roll an education, please? Rudi, add your occult.
yes, of course. 6. Fuck. That's a success.
Yeah, so mine's
Don't lose
5.
it.
What was
Woo,
it?
wicked.
You all got 6.
I got a 6.
I got 5.
I got a 5.
Damn it, guys. We all pay.
The most
We
I
know
can-
nothing.
The most I can say is that, from what you know of Claire Spelling, she looks surprisingly concerned, I guess. Seems to not-
Yeah, Rudi will also raise an eyebrow towards Tony as Gaston is going to the not when Gaston joined the the theater or whatever, the show, but when he said that 3 people are going to do the same trick. We haven't heard that before. Interesting.
says, and now, one more. Could each of you please roll a what's a P? Let's go with charisma. Could each of you roll a charisma?
Mhm.
And no bonuses, please.
9 maximum charisma out of Tony, out of
Ooh.
Rudi. Sorry.
I've got 8.
Wow, mine's a 7.
Oh, so Tony and Rudi notice. Gaston probably doesn't because he's stood at the front facing everyone else, and Claire's sort of walking up to him, looking nervous. Tony and Rudi, you notice as he's looking around for other people, and having mentioned this third one, that Julian Peters seems to have excused himself and is making his way quietly out of the doorway through the hallway towards, like the billiards room and the snug.
Yeah.
He's not going to the stage. He's like leaving.
Yes, he's looking to leave. Just as the great bow
Oh.
around, and a third person. Who shall we pick?
Have we? I don't remember our interactions with Julian Peters. However, what do I remember about him? What does Rudi remember about him?
Gaston would know the most because Gaston has spoken to him before. He is a reporter for a newspaper. He is a reporter for the De Standard newspaper in Belgium. Whereas Gaston is Ce Soir, which is more of a left wing. The Standard is more of a right wing paper in sort of Belgium and the Netherlands at the time. So Julian Peters is a reporter. He's media. You'll have seen him at the symposium, making notes during the sessions, and you'll have seen him. You've not dined too much at this hotel. You've been here and there during the week, but you've seen him around. Gaston would remember that he's had meetings about having a phone call from his editor in the morning. It was that gentleman, and so on.
Luke, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Gaston have a conversation with him about the levitation? Was that brought up?
Bear with me while I check into my notes, okay?
Sorry.
No. That's a really important question. One I don't have to hand, but if it happened, it's in my notes, okay?
Yeah.
The first go through, he said he'd meet Gaston at breakfast.
It wouldn't have been that one, I don't think.
The second one through, there's not too much about it. Hang on a sec. No, Gaston and Tony. Hang on a sec. Mr. Smidge and Rudi talking not 20 pounds to 10. Claire asks Rudi to fine. Gaston and Peters. Second time through. Gaston and Peters chat in a snug. Gaston talks about Bauman's deep pockets. So they talk about the fact, Gaston talks about the fact that Bauman's maybe bribing people. And then Peters mentions taking an early call, and then we'll meet Gaston for breakfast again.
Okay, no worries. That was probably my notes of things that I should do that I didn't do at the time, which is totally on brand. Thanks.
That's okay. So the three of you see Peters make a quick exit towards that door. Bauman looks around and goes, and you, sir, and he points to Stefano Esposito.
I guess can I proclaim at this point? He'll throw out his arms and he'll say, but the great Bauman, and he'll look over to Tony and Rudi and sort of make eye contact as he says, we haven't even done anything yet, and turn back to the room and look around.
My dear boy, you're about to do many important things. Please be calm. Be calm. My process needs you to be calm and ready for what will be put upon you.
Rudi will turn to Tony and says, I will follow Mr. Peters. And then he proceeds into following Mr. Peters.
I shall keep an eye on the act.
Do so, yes. But I think I know how this one ends. But I have never noticed Julian leaving at this moment.
Yeah,
before.
True.
Okay. Rudi, you will. So basically, Rudi, as you're following him out, you hear Bauman launching into his introduction-y shtick. You bat through the door, and as you get through the door, you notice that the door for the snug is closing. To suggest someone's just gone in. We'll come back to you in a minute. We'll do Bauman's stuff first, and then we will return to you.
Sure.
Follow through to the snug. I went all bad
European.
The snug. So Bauman stands. He sort of puts his arms out with Gaston and Claire and Stefano, almost like an eagle putting his arms around its young. Ladies and gentlemen, a special treat for you this evening. These three wonderful volunteers will each be hypnotized by myself, the great Bauman, for the same great task. Now, the three of you, please close your eyes and listen carefully to my voice. And he sort of pauses to wait. See the three of you close your eyes, Gaston?
Gaston takes one last look around the room. Looks over towards the bear. Closes
See if it's closing its eyes.
So, for the three of these dear volunteers, I have a great task. Each of you, as you're sinking deeper and deeper, listening to my voice, when the three of you awake from your hypnotic slumber, you will be charged with seeking out evil, finding evil within this space. That is your task. That is what you're called to do. 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes. And the three of you open your eyes, I assume, Gaston.
Yep.
Great Bauman smiles broadly, showing his teeth and his gums. Now, my dear friends, you have been tasked with a great mission, and I hope that you will fulfill it fully and quickly. Gaston, could you roll charisma check, please.
Yes.
No. Yeah. You can choose charisma or education.
I will choose charisma.
Okay.
That's a 6 plus a 3 is a 9.
You get this weird sense about these two people, these two gentlemen sat at a table, that there's some weird juju about them. You can't place it. There's not a chance of you placing it, but you feel a weird thing inside of you. There's something not quite right about them.
Do I know them?
No, they're two, day trippers, diners. Bauman's got a bit of a fixed smile at the minute, almost as if he's waiting.
Gaston looks at the other two who partook.
You see that Stefano is sort of looking in exactly the same place as you, and he's about to raise his. You can see he's sort of starting to raise his arm to point in that direction. So his arm goes up.
Whereabouts are they located?
They're located above the D of the dining hall. You're pretty much above the H of the dining hall as it stands.
Okay. Gaston will do the same. He will do it. He'll point over towards those two.
Is Claire doing the same?
Claire is looking deeply unhappy and kind of sick. Almost like shaking her head to herself somewhat.
Can I examine the two diners and see if they're reacting to being pointed out like this?
Yes. I guess in that moment you won't know, but you recognise them because they're the ones that have been picked out every single time.
Yeah.
Of course. As the fingers are going up and before everyone else sort of turns on them, roll your choice of education or charisma, please.
Well, in that case, it'll be education. Oh, that's a mighty 4.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, 5.
Oh, wow.
5.
That makes all the difference.
Yeah.
You can't tell much about them. You recognise them, but you've seen them so many times. You've seen them, this is like the third or fourth time you've seen it. And you weren't really paying attention to them before. And I don't know, they're just sat there. Just two guys looking like they're minding their own business. You can't tell much about them with that role. And as you're trying to put the pieces together, you see Gaston and Stefano's fingers rise up. And Stefano shouts, "These two!" And he sort of sees...
that. Sorry.
No, carry on. He was going to point to you anyway. He was going to turn to you anyway. So,
as that happens, can Gaston look at Claire and just say, "Are you feeling okay? Is everything all right?"
Let me just roll something for Claire. Okay. Claire pauses for a second, but she notices that already Bauman's attention and the people's attention is turning to where Stefano's pointed. And, that whole charade is playing out. That sort of, as you're speaking to Claire, that whole, aha, who's this? And that the pointing and the checking for the wallets and that.
Yeah.
Claire turns to you and she says, "I'm going to die, aren't I?" Tonight,
No.
I mean.
No.
Tonight, I mean. I've seen this before. Not this. Not me and you. But I can swear I know how this is going to end.
Gaston starts beckoning over Tony at this point, in the absence of Rudi.
How close would I pass by the table with the two guys on my way to the front?
Nowhere near it. They're like the other side of the room. You're dining to the right of the L, and then
Right.
Gaston and Claire are above the H, and these guys are above the D. and
Okay.
and already you're seeing that thing of like the staff and the manager going over to them and starting to frisk them, and
Yeah.
like the bowman he sort of looked back at you two. He'd sort of seen your finger go up, so he sort of knew that you'd seen it, but he obviously assumed that you've let Stefano do the meat of it, you know. And so you've got a moment. You two and Tone, if you need it, have got a moment where no one's paying attention to you.
Yes, I'm going to leap to my feet and hurry over to Gaston immediately. And rush to his side. He's standing right next to Claire, isn't he?
I would assume so, Gaston.
That was the plan.
Okay, then I will try to put myself in such a position that we effectively form a triangle in case he wants us all to talk together.
Please, madame, tell and he'll look Tony in the eye. Tell my dear friend here what you just told me.
She sort of you look at Tony, and she looks quite frightened actually. She said, don't think of me as crazy, but this has happened before. Not me, not Gaston, not Monsieur Esposito, but there's going to be death here, right, this evening, and I'm going to die.
You're not, in fact.
Do you know of the future?
More precisely than you can possibly imagine.
Mm-mm.
It's Tony.
My I feel like I'm clinging to my mind by a fragment. I need to find my cures. I need my calming cures. I need to please, I need to go to my room. I have herbs and I have ingredients that will calm me.
Wait, just one moment, please. Where is she staying? Sorry, room 4. Okay. I'm going to say to Gaston, one of us should go with her.
Agreed.
The other one should speak with Bauman. So, which do you fancy doing?
Well, madame, which would you prefer?
Let's find out. I would. She sort of looks to the two of you. She says, "Monsieur Delarue, you have kind eyes. Please, if you would be so kind to escort me."
Such a charmer, always, Gaston.
Always
no
with the
women
women.
can fail you.
But of course, Monsieur Tony, if you need me, just call loudly.
I believe you will hear the screams.
He looks over at Claire to see any reaction from the mention of screams. Please, let's go and find your cures. And as he starts walking her away, and say, "What is this something you use regularly?"
As you're walking, you'd expect her to go the way of the stairs, but because the kerfuffle's going, then she looks upset. She's actually gone round to the snug direction, and so you'd follow her out that door and then around the corner and down that hallway.
Nog.
it's the long way, but the schnug. It's the long way, but it's like she wants to avoid everything that's going on.
Sure.
What did you ask about the herb? Sorry, Gaston.
Is this something you use regularly? Has this been an ongoing issue for you?
Well, I don't know if you know, but on Sunday I am due to give a presentation on taming the mind, the broken mind, nature's way. And I've done a lot of
Indeed.
research
All right.
into tribes and indigenous people groups in different countries where they partake of herbs, natural drugs, and what nature can provide to soothe the mind, to open the mind, and so on. And in my travels, I've come across certain concoctions that some I've created myself, some I've learned from others that will settle the mind, settle the nerves, help one sleep. And it must be said that, especially the one to help me sleep, I partake of it regularly.
May he'll look around and make sure they're sort of alone at this point. And he'll say, "May I ask? I only inquire because clearly something has set you aside from myself and the other guest who underwent the Great Brahman's trick. Might you have something to steady my mind? Does that feel like the right not cure but preventative measure for such a thing?
After today, Monsieur Otto and Monsieur Guerrero's incredible presentation about the bracelet of Mary Magdalene, and I came back. I've been so focused, and I was quite tired, but I wanted to enjoy this evening. So I do have. I partook of some of my herbs to I guess I would not say to make me drunk as such, but to relax me in a way that alcohol would for others. But so I partook of it to relax me and to calm me, but also to prepare me for the evening. And I have plenty of that with me. I assume that would be the case, but I could offer you that, which would, I say, might take the cares away from you somewhat. Or I do have some of my my sleeping powders, which would enable you to relax you, maybe in a small dose, might not send you to sleep.
Please, not the sleeping powders, but whatever it was you had before. I would be very interested to see its effects. Luke, quick question: do I still have a weird feeling about the pair? Is there still a pull towards them?
That seems to have gone. Once you were out of eye line, you noticed it as you went out through the hallway.
Yeah.
And because you're walking along next to the dining hall, basically, just with a single wall, you've heard like all the round of applause and the the usual sort of thing, and you've heard the great bowman, um, you know, thank everyone, and there's and enjoy the rest of their evening, and you've heard sort of that, and as you get through to come out to go to the stairs upwards, which I'm assuming you'll do, as you look to the left, you see the bear, and behind the bear, you see the first few people filter out to the outside bar. Because it's just the evening drinks now. The entertainment is finished, and it's just time for the evening drinks, and a few people leaving. So you're there, and you head upstairs. And he says, "I can offer you some of what I've taken of, and it will relax you. It will give you a sense of enormous well-being, a warmth inside of you, and it does alter the body's chemistry somewhat. They say it changes the mind, in fact. if you're wishing to partake with me, I'm more than willing. Especially as you seem troubled also.
I would very much appreciate it, but I would lay down the proviso that you took me through the process, and perhaps what makes you believe I'm troubled. That would be of great benefit as well.
You, when you stood up and you accepted, you did not seem as you didn't seem as open in the same way as Monsieur Esposito seemed. I've seen you and your friends conversing, but you seem to be deep in talk that others aren't so much. Everyone else is enjoying the evening, and yet the three of you are studying notebooks and going here and there and everywhere. And that may just be because you are all men of academia, as Monsieur Otto seems to enjoy saying, I've overheard. And but you do have a troubled soul, Monsieur Delarue. I can see a sadness in your eyes, a loneliness, somewhat, some might say. And I can't help but feel that on another, almost like in a previous version of today, I have spoken with you and your friends about such things, perhaps. Do you understand at all?
I think more than you know.
Do you?
Perhaps more than I know as well.
Have you experienced this day before, Monsieur Delarue?
Oh.
He stops dead in his tracks for a moment.
Oh. Sorry, guys. I couldn't hear myself.
No. I hope you appreciate the gravity of me saying this. Certainly to somebody who, no disrespect, I do not know too well, but I have several times.
You have knowledge of several times. For me, this feels like the second time, but with strange shadows of possibilities of the past, if that makes sense. Almost as if a previous day contained a million what ifs within it.
The one of them was a number of them, I suppose, were in quite quick succession. Please lead on. You must tell me more. I must seek this cure, this enhancement, this preventative measure.
You walk with Claire up to her door, and she puts the key in, and she opens it, and inside it's very much like yours, Gaston. Tidier, of course. Smells nice. It smells quite herbal. You can see that she's arranged some things, a bit like like a joss stick, something like that, like a scented stick, which she immediately goes over to light. It lets off a sweet-smelling smoke. Her clothes are definitely tidied away much better than Tony and Rudy's are. There's no rogue pairs of trousers scattered across anywhere. And she reaches under her bed and pulls out a case, which she opens out, and inside there's lots of vials and a mortar and pestle and such like, and a candle, and and a box of matches and such like. And she sits cross-legged on the floor and offers for you to sit opposite her if you so wish.
Please, Mad. First, in case something should go wrong or we should be interrupted by another day. If I need to convince you on our next cycle of our shared knowledge and the fact that we are both on the same page with regards to this, is there anything I can say or mention or bring up to you that will aid our conversation?
Could you roll
about this experience?
Could you roll a charisma with a chat of all trades? Please?
I'm
giving you like a bonus because the vibe, it's posy vibes. It's probably all drugs floating around.
Yeah. It's definitely the incense.
It is. It's gone to both heads.
That's a 5 plus 5 is 10.
She thinks for a while and smiles, and she says, "When I was a child, my family had this wonderful dog, and it's quite embarrassing, really. But the dog's name was Giannis. No, it wasn't Giannis. It was the dog's name was Gaston."
He will dip his head somewhat respectfully and then sit down opposite her.
What we can do with Ed there, she sort of she pulls out a couple of vials and you see her sort of tip a couple into the mortar and pestle, and she sort of grinds them up a little bit, mixes them together, adds a little bit of this and that, some sweet smelling liquid, and it almost becomes like a paste, and she sort of puts it onto the end of a sort of a spoon, sort of a teaspoon, and it pretty much a little heaped teaspoon, and she hands it to you and she says, take of this, it will relax you, and if you're like me, you have this dark nagging sense inside of you, I'm hoping that it will lift it for both of us. And you see her take another spoon and she takes it down straight away.
He takes the spoon and wafts it under his nose and takes a smell.
It's both bitter and sweet, depending on the direction you're smelling it. But it doesn't smell horrible.
And given all of the circumstances that he's been in, what's the worst that could happen? They're just going to reset. He takes it.
As you take it, just you're putting it in your mouth, you see that she and herself has allowed herself a smile, and her eyes closed, and she lays back onto the floor, sort of almost slumps back. And a few seconds later, you get a wash over you of an immense sort of peace and calm, I guess. Quite overwhelmed, almost too much to control, and you feel your eyes roll back slightly, and you fall backwards onto the carpet. Not in a horrible, terrifying way, but in a sense of enormous well-being washes over you. And at that point, as Rudi Otto bursts into the snug and Tony approaches the great bowman, looking at the time, that is where we'll finish for the evening. Leaving, I'm looking forward to it because I think Rudi and Tony both have some very good things to bring up at the start of the next session.
Yeah, I feel like I wasted some valuable time there with things
I
that they
hope
do
that
really good.
The pursuit of Julian Peters will lead up somewhere, and I got I got something pure gold out of it.
I think you're all barking up good trees right now. to use a
Oh.
Gaston metaphor.
See, I told you it was the bear.
At least we ruled out the bear scenario. So we made
Yeah.
some progress. You can say we made some progress.
Hopefully, Tony's also ruled out the Gaston scenario.
Well, I mean, I had for a little while, but now it turns out he's just this drugged up idiot. So he's right back in the frame again.
This magnetic, polarizing figure that women cannot help but to invite to their quarters.
To their rooms.
Like
Yeah.
my shift ends up 10 o'clock. Maybe I have some herbs. Like what all the conversations you have with female characters end up with. Maybe you should come to my room at some point. Then Gaston, teach us what you do.
It's the only good rolls my dice are making for some reason. Everything else is like, oh, it's a 2. Great.
Well, I have learned to believe in the power of the dice when it comes to role playing. So I guess that's the story of Gaston de la Rue. Like,
ladies,
you know,
bonehead.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was thinking something less inappropriate, more inappropriate, but yes, he's the ladies' man.
Well, I was really impressed with the three of you. I know it was a shortish session in that regards, but you all pulled on really good. You pulled on really good
Not
threads.
many answers. Yes, I will not sleep easily tonight, knowing we have solved it. I will wait again, alone in the dark and the heat of Greece. I will be spending. I will be staying up late, thinking, what if I've told Jean Durand the truth, or Gaston, or whatever? I don't know. What if? Yes, you leave me helpless, really, Luke. And you also called the bear Yanis, so I don't know what to do with that either.
It's a very
Yanis the bear is going to be my next character name.
Very brave and strong bear, quite frankly. Proud, brave and strong bear. Wow.
I also had to hear that my friend Tony Guerrero stroked Yanis.
Yes.
Yanis was stiff. What was
it's a
that
strong
about?
moment, that.
It was very touching.
But that was a traumatic experience for me.
That was one for socks.
Yes, the socks wasn't even alive. Hear that joke? Come on.
We'll send her to the VOD. She'll enjoy that.
They may never know.
She'll have to fan herself down a little bit. But we'll look at the next week. We have got a funny couple of months, but we'll look for the next one that we're all available for, because you're so. The three of you are very close. It's very exciting for me, and I'm very excited.
Well, I'm living in August 12th to 20th. I don't have anything else planned.
Cool. We've got.
So
I think,
maybe.
Yes, I think. Yeah, we're sort of all busy around that sort of time as well. So we will have I will look.
Maybe one more by the end of July. Maybe.
Let's have a look. I've got a feeling the 16th is Dark Places, 23rd and 30th. When are you away, Ewan?
Sorry, it's me again. I'm away a couple of weeks. The last 2.
I want a cathartic feeling.
Hey, but if Gaston's totally done with, you can move on without him. Technically,
we could do.
Given the effects.
As long as you were happy to finish when the game reset, that would not necessarily be it might be possible. We could discuss it.
You mean finish with Claire?
Well, we would essentially play out our 2 sections, and then when it next does a reset, Gaston comes back into it. So whenever that is, we'd have to stop, even if it was a bit shorter than usual.
Yeah, if you wanted to do that, John, we could do that in like the 23rd or 30th. You just play through the rest of this reset.
No, I would love to play all together. I was trying to make a sexual innuendo joke.
I mean, both are fine. Either way, and the joke.
No, in your end though.
All right, let's see then. All right.
Let's take this to we'll take it to chat to work out a date that fits for all of us, because yes, it would be nice to do it again soon.
Yeah.
Sooner
The other thing that might be worth reminding us of, John, is when is your next stream on your own channel?
For now, every Monday. That's my plan. Except the 1 week that I will be off during August. In a few days, like a couple of days. Monday the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
The next Meta Monday will be Monday the 10th, where I will be speaking about Enter Meta, the first chapter of Metanthropes.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Yep. So if you haven't encountered Metanthropes yet, it's well worth looking at. It's enormous fun.
And yeah, go watch the stream, because when channels are trying to get to affiliate, they need a good average number, and then they've just got to do that for a month. And once they've got that average number for the month, that's when the affiliate kicks in. So let's get John over the affiliate line, which opens up magical things. So let's do that.
Cool. I had like €7 per month.
That'll get you. That'll sort you.
Brilliant.
Nice. Can't wait to change my life.
It's been an absolute treat. Thank you, Luke, obviously, for running it and torturing us again.
Yes, it was a torture, but thank you nonetheless.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
And thank you,
Thank
John.
you for stroking
such a
and
treat.
making Yanni stiff tonight. Making sure that Giannis was stiff tonight. Thank you both, Ben and Luke, for this moment.
Role playing, beautiful. Right, sleep well, everyone. Sleep well, viewers and everything. Take care. Ben will be back on Monday evening with your video game, and John will be back before that, a couple of hours before that. So watch both channels on a Monday.
What a double header!
Feel free to do both.
Right, take care, everyone. Sleep well.
Thanks.
Love you all.
Cheers. Thank you. Good night.
Bye.